Welcome to our second lecture for Advanced Legal Document Preparation course. We're going to do two things during this lecture. We're first of all going to go over the PowerPoint, and then I'll give you a tour of Canvas. So let's go ahead and get started. Before we start though, pause me if you don't already have your note-taking materials ready, your spiral or your loose leaf paper, whatever you're using. There will definitely be times that you'll want to take some notes so you can avoid having to listen to this program or this lecture multiple times. So let's go ahead and get started. There is an orientation quiz that you'll take after you've completed all the orientation materials, and I'll show you where you can find that later on. But I want to begin by welcoming you to the course. Hopefully you'll enjoy this course. It's perhaps not our most fun or scintillating course in the program, but it is one of the most practical courses that you have. At the end of this course, you will know how to prepare gorgeous legal documents. And these gorgeous legal documents that you create can become the cornerstone of your application when you apply for jobs. This can be your portfolio that you show potential employers. Potential employers want paralegals who are ready on day one to create appropriate documents. None of us knew how to create appropriate documents before we started paralegal school or before we got our first a paralegal position. When I went to law school, my first day, I had no idea what an appropriate document looked like. And honestly, even after I've graduated from law school, I didn't know precisely what the documents were supposed to look like. It was on-the-job training that I learned how to do this. Firms don't want to pay for that. And so this is our attempt to get you to the point that you'll be able to show the potential employer on day one, yeah, I know how to create that gorgeous document. You're not going to have to teach me. Oh, there may be a few quirky things you do differently at your firm than what I do, and I'll make those adjustments. But I am ready on day one to be a productive member of your team. This course gets you there and also gets you the job by giving you the opportunity to create these gorgeous documents. Here I am. If you haven't had a chance to meet me yet and see me on campus, that's my face. My name is Cynthia Groover. I have been practicing law since 1990. I first began working for a large law firm that's based primarily in Houston. Then I went to work for a large corporation, JCPenney in Plano, and I worked there for about 17 years. I've been at Collin full-time since 2010. I primarily teach paralegal courses. Oh, I have a typo there. I apologize. Primarily teach paralegal courses. But I also teach business law, hospitality law, and employment practices, which is an employment law course for HR professionals. If I don't already know you, I'm looking forward to getting to know you over the course of the semester. If I already know you, I'm looking forward to getting to know you better. Let's continue on. My classroom is on the Preston Ridge campus, which is the Frisco campus. My office is on the Preston Ridge campus, which is in Frisco. I am in the library on the second floor, room 232. Please come by and see me. I am delighted to help you with assignments. Students who come for support on assignments one time invariably come back multiple times because I provide a tremendous amount of support. We will work on the assignment together. If you come with a rough draft of what the assignment is and you're willing to spend an hour or more with me, you'll end up with a very, very good assignment. So be smart, come see me so you can get that support. But don't come to see me just for support on assignments. Also come for a support on resumes. If you would like some guidance on career goals. If you're thinking about law school, I'll be glad to give you some information about that process and ways to be successful with that plan. To find me during my office hours, you can find that information on the syllabus. I covered the syllabus during the first lecture, so I'm not going to pull one up now, but just know that there is that section on the syllabus where you can get that information. Our textbook, we only have one textbook, which is called Just Writing, Grammar, Punctuation, and Style for the Legal Writer. You're going to want to purchase this, but you don't have to purchase the most recent edition. You're going to want to purchase it because you're going to use this in more than one semester. And it's not a very expensive book to begin with. So buy a version. Don't just get a rental version or an ebook version, unless it's an ebook version that you get to keep. There are other resources that can be useful, but they are not required, and they would be way, way too expensive for you to consider buying. I actually have these books available in my office, so you're welcome to come to my office if you want to play around with these. They're also available in the library on the Spring Creek campus. So again, those are some additional resources, but you don't need any of these. Your grammar book and my lectures are really what the textbook are for this course. In this course, you will find that the lectures are essential to the course in a way that no other course in the program is this true for. Legal writing might be a close second, but this one really, really and truly is essential because there's no book that exists that gives you all of this information. So if you wing it, you are not going to be successful. You think, oh, I know how to put together a business letter. I've done it 100 times before. You may well be able to put together a business letter. It may even look professional, but it doesn't follow the particular requirements that we have for this course. And so you absolutely do need to watch the lectures in order to be successful. Now, a suggestion when you're watching the lectures is to also have the document assignment ready to do. So as I explained to you the various parts of that particular assignment, you're also working on the assignment. If you watch the lecture and then do the assignment, you're going to have to go back and refresh yourself on the lecture materials. It's going to take longer that way than if you do them simultaneously. Be sure to wander around the Canvas website. This course, as you'll see, has a ton of stuff on Canvas. The modules are quite lengthy, and so it's helpful, I think, from the beginning to kind of get your bearings and to see how things are organized, where things are, and if you have any difficulty finding or navigating, please come see me and we can work through those issues. As I said before, you'll definitely want to spend time on the orientation content. There's quite a bit of it on this course, and it's useful to look at that during that first week of classes, but you're also going to want to refer to it on a pretty regular basis. In fact, there will be some items that you'll probably go to every week, or at least if you're bringing your A game to the course, you're going to want to do that. If you are new to Canvas or you are new to online courses, you may well find this material helpful. There's a link that you can use for this. Be familiar with your syllabus. Hopefully that lecture, the first lecture I presented, helped you kind of get your bearings on the syllabus. Also know that the announcements are really, really important in this class. Since we don't have a textbook, announcements become a major, major source of information. You'll want to visit at least 3 times a week, and you want to log on by at least Tuesday. When you log on, you're going to want to check your Canvas announcements and also the discussion board, because you're going to have to make 3 posts, and so that's why you need to visit 3 times. One is your substantive or first post, and the other 2 will be your response post or your reply posts. You'll need to make your substantive post by noon on Saturday. You can make it after then, but you're going to get a deduction. The reason that I have that requirement is that if people aren't making their first post by noon, then it's hard to reply to something that hasn't been written. So that's the reason for that. Ideally, you're going to make your first post on Tuesday or Wednesday. That would be the perfect scenario. Right, I'm going to go through a lot of these topics I will have covered in that first lecture when I was talking about the syllabus. I'm going to go through some of these relatively quickly. I don't remind about deadlines. The reason I don't do that is because in the professional legal world, nobody does remind us about deadlines. And in fact, you aren't given deadlines. Let's say the opposing party files a motion for summary judgment, and your client wants to respond to the motion. Well, nobody tells you how many days you have. You actually have to look up the rule and do the calculations yourself. If you miscalculate and you file it too late, it's very likely that the court won't consider whatever the reply was. And it could well be that if the motion is granted, that your client could sue you for malpractice. So you have to find the rule, you have to make the calculation, and you have to satisfy the deadline. Extensions are not granted usually by courts. For these reasons, it's really important that we learn in the program how to comply with deadlines. And when you have the opportunity to submit things early, give yourself the gift of time. Don't wait until the last day to submit documents. Things happen. There's computer problems. People get sick. Things happen. And so you're setting yourself up for not the level of success that you want. It takes just as long to do it at the last minute as it does to do it a day or two before. Everything that you need to be successful in the course you already have. You can work ahead. There's no reason why you have to be doing work the particular week that it's posted for you. So working ahead can be a smart strategy to be successful. But I'm not going to be back to be sending you emails. I remember that assignment's due tomorrow, or that type of thing. That's strategic, because it's much better that you miss a deadline in this course, and then you can be like, oh gosh, what a bummer, I missed a deadline. But guess what? Nobody's going to sue you for missing a deadline in this course. Nobody's going to fire you for missing a deadline in this course. The stakes are relatively small. So a missed deadline here that kind of communicates the message to you on some kind of level that, hey, I don't want to do this again, is actually a success for you and for the course. There, you will find, I'll show this in a second, that there is a sample documents folder. This is where you will get many of the documents that we use in this course. As starting points. Sometimes you'll actually be editing something that has been prepared elsewhere. It's important to keep this in mind, that the sample documents I have in the folder are intentionally not perfect. There are problems with them. If the documents were perfect for the purpose, it would be a pretty no-brainer to actually create the documents. That wouldn't be college level work, and it wouldn't reflect the real world, because most of the time you don't have a perfect document to work from. So in the interest of preparing real world experiences, and also of making sure you're understanding how to prepare these documents, they have flaws. Be expecting there to be flaws. When you see something, hey, wait a second, Groover said it'd be like this, and the sample document is different, don't think to yourself, well, gosh, I guess I misunderstood what she said before. No, assume what you heard is correct. If you're not sure, go back and watch the video again to see. And when you see a difference, then assume, well, gosh, I need to take the sample document and make it look like what Groover said it needs to look like. So you'll need to adapt the models. Again, if you get into a situation where you're not sure if you're supposed to change it or not, that's a perfect time to come to my office hours. Now, you're welcome to send me an email message about something like that. But that's the type of thing that we actually have to talk about, because that's going to involve several steps. Well, what do you need to change? How do you need to change it? What part do you keep? What part do you not keep? That's not a really simple, straightforward email question. So if you encounter that and you're saying, well, gosh, the sample document looks like this, Groover said it should look like that, how do I make the change? Do I make the change? That's when you send me an email saying, I need to talk with you. Help me understand what I need to do. We'll schedule a time. We'll get the problem solved. That's another reason why it's a really good idea to get the work, or plan on getting the work done early in the week in which it's due. Because if you're working on it on Sunday, obviously I'm not going to be available to support you at that time. You'll have to make a judgment call at that point in time. If you make the wrong one, you may lose several points as a result. That's not what either one of us wants. So go ahead and maybe set an internal deadline for yourself of getting the document done on Tuesday. And then if you encounter problems, you can come to my office hours on Wednesday or Thursday, or you know, and get those issues that you have resolved. Computer problems, things like that, are not going to get you extensions. I will sympathize. We've all been there. It's a horrible, horrible thing to have computer problems. But again, the judge isn't going to care about your computer problems. And while I will care about it, I promise you I will, I'm not going to be in a position. It wouldn't be fair to you, frankly, for me to give you that extension, because the thing that you need to get out of this is, I'm responsible for completing this project, and it doesn't really matter what impediments I reach, because as a legal professional, the court isn't going to care about my technical problems. We talked about reaching out to me. We've talked about how to contact me. This is my email. When you email me, be sure to use your Cougar Mail email address, not your personal email address. If you send it from your personal, I'm supposed to say, can't do that. Go ahead and send it to me through your Cougar Mail. So thank you for doing that. It saves us a step, and I really do appreciate it. You will be getting all of the class-wide announcements to your Cougar Mail email address, but you'll also be able to find them on campus, so whichever place is easier for you to look. Let's talk about email etiquette. We have a whole module in that early in the course, so I'm just going to give you a few highlights. We'll do a deeper dive when we get to that module. Couple things to keep in mind. First of all, this is a writing course, and so I expect when you email me, you are going to be putting forth your best legal writing. I'm not going to, if you dash something off really quickly from your smartphone because you've got a question, the first thing I'm going to be concerned about is, did you send me an email that is of appropriate style? And so I'm going to be giving you advice about how to make that email stronger. So what are some things that you'll want to think about as you do the email? First of all, you're going to want to pick an appropriate subject line. The subject line should have two components. It ought to include whatever your question is in very brief format, and it also ought to reference the course. So an example might be a question about email assignment, and then you might put in parentheses LGLA 2333. That's an effective subject matter line. You'll need to have both of those components. I teach 6 or 7 courses every semester, and many of my courses are going to have similar assignments. And so the fact that it's an email assignment doesn't tell me which class this is an email assignment for. So please be sure to include the class as well. Then you're going to want to include a greeting. A very appropriate one is dear, in this case, professor, a Groover, and then a colon. Colon tells your reader that this is a business correspondence and not a personal correspondence. When you're corresponding with your best friend, you do a comma. When you're corresponding with your significant other, you do a comma. When you're corresponding in an academic or professional situation, you're going to use the colon. You're going to want to start with dear. You don't have to use professor. You can use Ms. If you prefer, but something along those lines is the way to go. Then you're going to want to include a complete and thorough explanation that includes few, if any, typos. Obviously, you're not going to want any typos. You're going to want to anticipate the questions that I have, and you want to make it as precise as possible. Questions like, I have no idea what to do on this assignment. Help me out. Watch the lecture, I guess would be my advice at that point. But if you say, I don't know which button to hit to center the title of my document, tell me which button I should hit, well, that's something I can give you a response. I could take a picture of a keyboard and circle the button that you need to hit, for example. That might be all that we need. So if it's a very discrete question like that, I can give an answer. But if it's a, I don't know what to do, or something along those lines, that's not really something that is something that can be resolved through email. A good rule of thumb is, if the person who you want to respond can't completely answer your question in 3 sentences, it's not something that's really solvable through email. We're going to have to talk or meet to get the issue resolved. Be careful about typos. You're going to want to run it through some kind of word processing thing. I recommend using Microsoft Words to catch any kind of things like missed periods, misspelled words, passive voice, things along those lines. And then you'll close with your full name and contact information. Please don't send emails from your smartphones. There's a couple of reasons for that. The first reason is that I don't think I've ever gotten an email from a smartphone that was well prepared. It's not reasonable. I mean, that's not criticism of the person. If you're typing with your fingers, you're going to have typos. You're going to have formatting issues. It's hard to do well, and so you're not going to provide as much detail. The second thing is that it communicates, gosh, Groover, you just weren't important enough for me to actually sit down at a keyboard and compose the email. When I respond to you, I'm going to be sitting at a keyboard thinking carefully about how to communicate. That's how I'm going to treat you as a professional, and I know that's how you'll want to treat me as a professional. So don't send it via smartphone. If for some reason you absolutely have to, my strong piece of advice would be, cut that part out. Make me think you sat at a computer and you composed it, even if you didn't. Here we go. We'll talk about the question section in a couple minutes. If you raise an email with me that I think other folks in the class might have a similar question, I may not respond directly to you. I may go ahead and do either a blast announcement or post something under instructors' pointers. Of course, if I do that, I'm not going to mention your name. You'll know it's about you, but other folks may not know it's about you. Here's a breakdown. This is from the syllabus, so we've already talked about this. Here's another place to find that information. So weekly assignments. These are oftentimes called document assignments. These documents are all about the format. There's relatively little that you're going to actually draft. This isn't really a writing course, it's a formatting course. So things like, did you use the right font? Did you use the right footer? Did you center the document, or were you not supposed to center the document? Did you use italics there? All of those issues are what the document's going to be about. At least with the document assignments, the actual details of writing are a relatively small part of the assignment. They're not no part of the assignment. I mean, you can definitely lose points by having sentence fragments and things like that, but most of the points you lose will be about formatting. Each document assignment is worth 30 points. And again, I don't accept late assignments, and they have to be in .doc or .docx format. In other words, they have to be Microsoft Word formats. If you PDF it, not going to grade it, just going to return it to you and say, nope, that's not going to get you a grade. If you PDF it, you're going to get a 0 on it. So I'll be glad to review it and tell you what you did well and what you didn't do well, but you won't be getting a numerical grade for the assignment. English convention assignments, these are also the proofreading assignments. Each one of these are worth 20 points. Now, that may make you think, well, one of these assignments here, the proofreading assignment is worth 2/3 of a document assignment, but that's not right, because overall document assignments are 50% of your grade, whereas a proofreading assignments are only worth 10% of your grade. So these 30 and 20 really doesn't have to do with their weight in the course. There are kind of two skills that these grammar proofreading assignments emphasize. One is proofreading, which is the ability to discover and correct errors in material. And the second is grammar. Do you know the grammar rules? There are people who know the grammar rules well who still struggle with proofreading because they read what they think ought to be there instead of what actually is there. There are other people who are good at proofreading but aren't so good at the grammar. So they would easily be able to spot, say, a failure to put a period at the end of a paragraph. They see that, but they don't know the grammar rules, so they're hard-pressed to figure out whether there is an error there or not. You need to have be developing skills in both of those areas to be successful on these assignments. Probably more than the document assignments, this is one where I can especially add value for you as you complete the assignments. Come see me before they're due so we can sit down and talk through them together. After the assignments have been submitted, you will be able to view a video in which I go through line by line and show you how I would have approached this assignment if I were a student in the class. The videos are relatively long, usually they're over an hour long, but it's a good kind of detailed approach to get inside my brain and see how a proofreader actually does proofread and make the required corrections. If that's something you've never done before, watch those videos. If you're struggling with the proofreading assignments, those are probably my best suggestions as to how to get started, especially if you can't come to my office hours. Just like the English convention assignments, the quizzes that will be worth 20 points. The quizzes will be on a variety of topics. One of the topics will be Microsoft Word knowledge and also legal document formatting knowledge, also probably some proofreading skills issues. I will be providing more information about the topics as we go forward. Keep in mind, though, the main purpose of these are to give you information about where you need to work, where are your gaps in knowledge. And so a low grade is not something to be upset about, but you see it as an opportunity. Oh, wait a second, I thought I understood that topic better than I do. Now I need to do a bigger dive. Or, gosh, I did well on that. I guess I'm good to go on that topic. We've already talked about the midterm assessment. I'm not going to talk about that anymore. Our final module in the course is on ethics. Ethics is an important issue whenever we're dealing with legal representation, and certainly legal document preparation is a type of representation. So we'll have that during our final week of the semester before final exams. Again, I'm not going to go over the final examination information. We already talked about that before. We talked about the discussion board. We talked about the fact that you'll make 3 posts. Here are some FAQs. We don't ever meet as a class, but you will find that there are those lectures that you'll want to watch. Many times people take this course and they've got things going on in their lives. Maybe they're planning on having surgery or a baby or adoption or a business trip or whatever. If it's good news, congratulations. If it's not good news, I hope things go as well as they can. Keep in mind you can work ahead. So if you know that that you're expecting a baby and the baby's due in about 5 weeks, try to get the weeks 4, 5, 6, and 7 kind of under your belt so that you'll be successful in the course. That you're giving birth in a week and you are unable to submit the assignment because you gave birth isn't going to be a situation where you're going to get extension. So keep that in mind, that deadlines are going to be not change simply because something's going on in your life. Again, because of the fact that you have access to the computer lab, the fact that your computer isn't working well, it shouldn't be an impediment to you being successful. All of your submissions of work, you're going to receive a lot of format. I'm going to put those in the comment section. That's the most important part of your grade, so please, please pore over those carefully. Look at the comments before you complete your next assignment. On the midterm and final examination, I will be glad to go over the answers during my office hours. So just stop by virtually or in person, and I'll be glad to go over the answers to any test questions with you. It's very common for students to be unable to complete a particular assignment. That should not be a source of a lot of concern for you. You can absolutely be successful in this course even if you miss 1 or 2 assignments. I hope you don't. I don't drop any grades, so it's to your advantage to go ahead and complete all assignments. But the fact that you weren't able to complete an assignment by no means that you will fail the course, or possibly doesn't necessarily even mean that you'll drop a letter grade. It's pretty common that students will say, well, I already work in a law firm and that's not the way we do our letters. We have a different format. That is to be expected. While we have a particular style that we do in this class, it is not the case that every single law firm is going to have the same style. The style that we've chosen for this class is a very popular style. It's a very conservative style. We've chosen that because it's one that isn't going to offend anyone. So if you use this style, say in your cover letter for your job application, even if the law firm says, well, that's not how we do our letters, they will look at it and go, that is a professionally prepared letter. Then on your first day, they'll tell you this is how we do it, and you'll make the adjustments. It's very common for paralegals to be creating documents in multiple styles. For one thing, you may be filing in multiple courts, and different courts are going to have different expectations. So it's a very good thing for you to develop multiple ways of preparing these types of documents. If you work for more than one attorney, different attorneys may have different styles for doing different things. So be prepared for the fact that you're going to have to adapt and adjust based upon who your employer is at this time, who the attorney is, what the court is. But when I say this is the way we do it in this class, that doesn't mean that what you're doing in your office environment is incorrect. We both can be correct. Having said that, if you don't follow our style guidelines, you will receive deductions, even if that same system is what you use in your office. Sometimes students are worried about, can I see their document submissions? And I completely understand why that's a concern. If you submit something and you're not sure if you've submitted it, you're worried that you're not going to get credit for it, you've invested a lot of effort in it, you want to make sure you get credit. Please don't email me saying, hey, can you see it? Because I'm going to show you how you can confirm that you have it. So there is no need to email me. I'm not going to be able to respond to those. It's not a necessary step. Here are some suggestions about how you can be successful in the course. You may want to take a picture of this screen so that you'll have these things handy when you're going through the weeks to come. And here are some technical problems. This technical problem, a cheat sheet, you may want to take a picture of this as well. This gives you some guidelines as to what to do when you're having difficulty getting into Canvas. If you can't get into Canvas, you can't get access to the PowerPoints. It's kind of a vicious circle. Here are some things to think about. If you are using a PC, you're going to want to probably use Google Chrome as your browser. Firefox also works. Obviously, Safari is another option. Internet Explorer is kind of clunky. If you're using Google and it's not working, try Firefox. If you're also having problems with your computer, go ahead and get out of the application, turn off your computer, reboot it, and try again. That's another approach. Or just try a different computer, including the computers at one of the computer labs here. Another idea is to ask a friend to look at what you're seeing. If you're like me, you probably are, but if you're like me, you can be staring at the answer and you still can't see it. And so that's a good approach for finding the things that you need to do. Finally, if none of those things work, you can certainly contact me. But in most cases, I'm not able to be of assistance. Now, I can be of assistance if I messed it up. Hopefully, I don't do that, but I'm certainly not immune to having made errors myself. But if it's not an error that I've created, most likely I'm not going to have a lot of ability to brainstorm with you. If you have a laptop and that's the computer you're using, you're welcome to bring it to my office hours, and I will give you the expertise I have, which isn't, I'm not a computer person generally, so I'm not sure that I'm the best person to help with that, but I'm glad to do what I can. Sometimes the problem is something that the e-learning center will need to work on. They are the experts, number one, and number two, they have more access rights than I do, and so there are more problems that they can actually solve. And they're very helpful, very nice people. I know that we're going to have a great semester. I hope that this information that I've provided has been helpful for you and useful. And let's now go to a tour of Canvas. So here we are. This is our Canvas website. You can see here, this is that first lecture. So you obviously found where the lectures are, and right below that lecture will be this lecture once I've gotten that input. And here is the PowerPoint that I've used, or just finished using a few seconds ago. Here is the syllabus for the course. And then here's some general information about the course. And here's a welcome letter. I'd like for you to look at these, but the one that I really want you to look at is called Cheat Sheet. So I'm going to ask that you pause the lecture at this point and write down your book, go to Cheat Sheet for what to do every week. So I'm going to click on this one. You can see it's 1, 2, we'll actually have another lecture. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, about the 10th item down. And you can see it goes through how you start your week, where the first thing you're going to do is you're going to read the assigned readings, and then you're going to review all of the keys for all of the documents from previous weeks. You're going to read the document assignment so you can have it open. Then you're going to watch the lectures and do the document assignment as you watch the lectures. Then you're going to complete the document assignment. And if you have any questions, you're going to post it in the questions discussion board. You're going to participate in the discussion board. I mean, this might be something that you actually started earlier, since you should do it ideally on 3 different days. And then you're also going to do the grammar proofreading assignment, or if there's not a grammar proofreading assignment, the quiz if there is one for that particular module. I'm just going to make one little change here so I don't forget. Obviously, if you haven't already requested to use ProctorU, you want to make sure you request that before the deadline. So, and then we have an FAQ. I've covered some of these FAQs already, but be sure to read the FAQs. This gives you lots of cool information. This gives you an idea about how much time to spend on the class. This is really an individual thing. There will be people in this class who have worked as a paralegal, who are very experienced with Microsoft Word, and you've prepared these type of documents many times. Some of those folks will find that they only spend 2 or 3 hours a week on the course. There will be other people who've never prepared these documents and who have weak Microsoft Word skills. They may well need to spend 10 hours to get where they want to be if their goal is an A. So it's really difficult to predict where you are. The important thing to keep in mind is that this isn't about a particular grade. It's about mastery. So if you are struggling in the first assignments, getting to where you want to be, but by the end of the semester you know how to do everything you need, your grade may not be the highest, but who cares? You learned what you needed to learn in the course. That is success. On the other hand, let's say you do beautiful documents, but you immediately forget how to do them. You kind of did them on automatic pilot and you weren't really paying attention. And so 6 months from now, you really won't have any recollection. You may well have gotten an A in the course, but it wasn't very successful for you. If there's anything else. I do have some extra credit. I'll talk about those in a few minutes. Okay, so again, you'll want to spend more time on that. I just wanted to make sure there wasn't something hugely important that I wanted to cover. Okay, so under FAQs, we also have where to find comments, keys, videos, and model answers for assignments. So once you complete assignment and I've graded it, you're going to get a tremendous amount of resources about how to understand how the document should be prepared. And this is helpful for you in several respects. Number one, it allows you to improve that document you initially submitted to get yourself a truly, truly perfect document, and that you can include in your portfolio for when you get a job. So you have the tools to make an even better document. I mean, it won't affect your grade, but it will help you get that job. And after all, why are we taking these courses? You know, to get that job, to keep that job, to be successful in that job. And so those resources are going to help you at that point. But perhaps even more important than that is these assignments build on each other. Once you submit, once you do your first letter, a business letter that we do, it's not like those skills go away. We're going to do several other business letters. Even if it's something that we don't do again, many of the components in that particular document, you will need to use those skills in subsequent documents. So whatever it is you missed in assignment 3, you're going to need in assignment 4 and 5 and 6. And so better that you learn it as soon as possible, and these tools will get you that information. You'll see here, this is just a little screenshot that shows you. You can see under Module 3, after you've submitted the Module 3 Interoffice Communication Agreement, you will see teacher comments regarding it, and also an example of how that document ought to look. This is for the sentence fragment proofreading assignment. Again, this is the lecture to watch, which I will go through line by line the document, how to find the error, how to fix the error. And then there's also an example of a very clean way to edit those particular issues. Now this is accurate for some of the assignments, but I have changed how I format some of these. Let me just show you how that works. I'm going to go into Launch Student View here. You go down. So what I did was I had a problem with some students not submitting assignments and then just getting the keys, and so I wanted to make sure that that wasn't a continuing issue. So now I have segregated all of the keys in the lectures and put them in a separate category. You actually have to submit an assignment in which you get a reasonable grade on, one that shows that you actually put forth meaningful effort to on the assignment. And once you do that, and I grade it, and you earn that grade, then you will get access to the key and items like that. So be on the lookout for that. You'll find the items in the module below the module where you found the initial assignment. So that's one difference. If you have difficulty finding this stuff, just send me an email message and I will do a screenshot and show you where precisely to find it. Here's guidance about how to participate in the discussion board. This goes through the requirements. You'll also see the requirements listed for each individual discussion board. I'll show you that in a few minutes. And then here's some instructions for completing the grammar proofreading assignment. It's about a 3-minute video. It goes over how to approach the assignment. Here's information about midterm and final examination information, including the ProctorU option. Here's information about how to forward your Cougar Mail email to your personal email. Some students don't like to use Cougar Mail, and if you don't want to use it, but you want to get all the messages from me, you can set it up so that the Cougar Mail content is forwarded to your personal email. You'll still need to correspond with me through your Cougar Mail, but this can at least help a little bit with you having to deal with 2 email addresses. This next section is really important. So this area right in here, I want to focus on for a second. Here are some guides that you can use throughout the semester, some cheat sheets that will help you with the specifics of how to complete the items that you're finding here. This one will help you calculate your grades. As I talked about before in the first lecture, I don't program Canvas typically to calculate your grade because Canvas is so bad at it. So you may have an interest in just kind of calculating your own grade. If you're not interested in it, no worries. You certainly don't have to. But if you're curious, you can follow the instructions on this particular video. It's only 3 or 4 minutes long. It explains how to calculate your grade and also explains how I curve grades. Again, you don't have to do this at all. It's just if you find it interesting. Alternatively, you're welcome to come to my office hours and I'll sit and explain to you how to go about doing that if you would like. And this is a little example of, or explains why I don't accept late assignments. You'll see a court was not too generous to a particular person who submitted a late document. So here, this is where you can post questions. Again, you can send me emails with questions, but if you think it's something that might be of general interest to the class, you can post questions here, and I can post pointers here as well. Let me show you the announcements section. So here we have the announcements. I have a lot of announcements that are ready to go. So you'll see lots of things that I'll be posting over the course of the semester. I'll be adding and revising these throughout the semester. What I do is I have a starting point. Each time before I send it, obviously, I have to tweak it and add information. I give a lot of guidance about grades, so you have a point of perspective how you are doing compared to other folks. So let me just give an example. Here we have, let's just look at it for a previous semester for the sentence fragment assignment. Let's just look at that for a second. And you can see this explains to you the average grade, how many people submitted it, what the highest grade was. This shows you how I list the comment section, what type of information you'll find there. And usually I'll say, hey, you know what, if you performed at this level, I would like to help you do even better next time on that particular assignment. Let me find another example. That was a proofreading assignment. Let me find here, let's do the client correspondence assignment. You can see I list common problems that people make. You know, obviously you're most interested in the problems that you made, but it's also helpful to see problems other people made because maybe you'll make those in the future, and so it's good to be on the lookout for some of those issues. And again, these will be numbered. You can see this got all these fell into the code number 42. So if you got a 42 on your comment section, I will specify which particular error you did, but these were common ones that fell into category 42. That's what I'm getting at when I say that. Okay. So let's go look at a module. I'm going to pick Module 1. So this is, we've already looked at the Start Here orientation module. I'm going to scroll down to Module 1. You'll see the first thing that you have, I think in virtually every module, is you have assigned reading. So you're going to want to read all of the material in Module 1. And in this one, we have the Just Writing. I list also pages for the Aspen Handbook. That's a book that we used previously. I haven't removed it because there may be still some students in the program who have the Aspen book, and Aspen also covers these materials. So if you have the Aspen book, you're welcome to also look at that as a resource. You are by no means, though, required to get the Aspen Handbook. So you might want to flag that in your notes. So when you see Aspen Handbook, you don't get concerned, wait, am I supposed to have this? No, it's completely an optional book. So that would be something you'd want to read. You'll see here that we have some additional grammar resources here. You might notice, though, that there's a video that you're supposed to see, and then there are some questions that aren't for a grade. And there's a key for these questions, and we have a similar setup for the second video. Let me just turn on the video for a second so you can see what's involved in that. Each video is about 5 minutes. They're not something I produced. So you may say, well, gosh, I'm not taking the SAT. Why do I care about that? Obviously, there is some material that Rob covers that is SAT specific, but for the most part, grammar's grammar. And so you can ignore his strategy suggestions for the SAT and focus on the grammar stuff. They're just kind of little bites of grammar that I think are helpful for you to know. You will be tested on them. And in the past, I would ask students to watch these videos, but I wouldn't give them opportunities for them to test themselves. And now I do provide these. So after you're done watching Rob's video, then you'll complete this, not for a grade, but for your own reflection. And you'll do these various activities. There's not a lot. Usually they're just one page. This one is just one page. Some of them might be more than one page. And then you can look at the key once you've completed the assignment to see how you did. So here we go. Let's look at the key. And you can see, oh, I got that one right. Oh, I got that one wrong. Well, do I understand why I got, why the answer is what the answer is? And you can do it for both of these modules. Again, you're not going to be tested on these right now. They may be a topic for a quiz, but you will find that they are covered in the midterm and the final examination. And to some extent, many of these topics will be covered in Module 6. So here we're getting into actual grammar stuff. And these are topics about punctuation. You're going to need these topics for the proofreading assignment, the grammar proofreading assignment, because what is being tested in the first grammar proofreading assignment is punctuation issues. Punctuation other than commas. We're not going to cover commas at this point. So these are lectures that I have presented. And you'll see here, this is that punctuation grammar proofreading assignment. Let me just open it up so you can see what that's like. You're definitely going to want to watch these videos first, and you're going to dive into this one. And again, here is this instructional thing about how to do the assignments. And oh, wait a second, I didn't mean to hit that. Well, here's a written form of that same document. Sorry about that, I hit the wrong one. This is the actual assignment. So my suggestion, so this is the part that you're going to be proofreading. My suggestion is to blow up the font. I like to do 20 point, and I usually like to space it. It helps me to see it. And as I go through it, I read it out loud, because when I hear it spoken, it's easier for me to hear the errors. And then I'm going to make the changes as I go through it. This other sheet that I just put up here explains how to make the changes. Because I'm going to be grading dozens of these assignments, and I want to make sure that you get all the points that you've worked so hard for, there needs to be some standardization. I need to be consistent from one student to another. And one of the ways that I do that is by having you follow very specific steps in how you proofread. They may feel a little bit clunky at first, but they allow me to grade in a way that will put everyone on the same footing. So be sure to follow these instructions. Use red bold font. Be sure to use the strike-through font where you are doing that. If you don't follow all these procedures, you're going to lose points, and I don't want that to happen. So it maybe take a couple extra minutes to do it, but they're going to pay off in the long haul with respect to that. Again, if you have questions about how to do this, come see me. I'll be happy to sit down and get you started on the grammar proofreading assignments for sure. We have also this week a discussion board introduction here. Again, you're going to find, here are the instructions about how to do the discussion boards. Here's the actual assignment. You can see I actually have an example of, and then we have, you'll click on this, the reply button to get that started. This is an extra credit opportunity. We have a group, it's a LinkedIn group called Collin College Paralegal Association. Let me just take you to that so you can see what I'm talking about. Many of y'all are already members, which is awesome. If you aren't a member though, I mistyped. Sorry about that. LinkedIn.com. You'll need to set up a LinkedIn account. LinkedIn accounts are free. Because I go to LinkedIn all the time, my computer already knows my password, but usually you would be asked to enter your password in. So I'm going to go to my groups because I'm already a member, and I'll click on Collin College Paralegal Association. Once you get in here, you'll see that I list lots of job opportunities. Some of them I post, some are posted by other folks. There are information, for example, here about the bar exam, information about legal writing. Most of them, though, are job leads, I'll be honest with you. And so this is a good place, especially when you're looking for a job, but even when you're not looking for a job, to go ahead and participate in this. So right now we don't have anybody who's seeking admission to the group. So how do you join this group? Well, the first thing you need to do is you need to go ahead and create a LinkedIn account. It's free. LinkedIn will want you to pay for it, but there's no need to pay for it. Once you establish your LinkedIn account, then you're going to go into the search bar and type in Collin College Paralegal Association. Now I'm already a member, so it's going to take me directly into the group. But if you're not a member, it will tell you, hey, you're not a member of this group. It's a closed group. You're going to have to request to join, and that's when you make a request. And then I will see a request. I'll go to Manage Group, and I will see a request. Again, there's no request right now, but if there were, there would be right here. Your request would be listed, and I will say, oh, yes, Bob, I know him, or I know her. I will go ahead and waive them into membership. LinkedIn is not always the most user-friendly site. Some students find it difficult to figure out how to make that request. If that's the case, there's an alternative way you can join LinkedIn, and that is once you've established your account, type in my name, Cynthia Groover, and go into my account here. You can see, don't go to this Groover or this Groover or this Groover. Go to this Groover, Cynthia Ferris Groover. You'll go into her account, me, and let me go into somebody else's. So let's say this were the manager here. You would, actually, somebody I'm not already, here we go. There's somebody I'm not actually Facebook friends with. Okay, so I'm not Facebook, LinkedIn friends with. I would click on this button to join or to link with Paul Elliott. And then, and of course you wouldn't link with Paul Elliott, you link with Cynthia Groover. And then you would send, once we're linked, you would send me an email saying, hey, Professor Groover, you and I have linked. You'll send me the link and then I will accept it. And then you'll send me an email saying, can you invite me to join Collin College Paralegal Association? I can only invite people with whom I am linked. But once we're linked, I can send you an invitation. You'll get an email, and then you'll just click, yes, I do want to join. So that's an alternative path. You're welcome to link with me. You're also welcome to unlink with me if you don't want to be linked with me over the long haul. So either way is fine. So once you have joined the group, you're going to click on Extra Credit LinkedIn, and you are going to cut and paste this right here. You are going to type it up here. I ask that you add your name here because some people, you might go by Bubbles in class, but your legal name is Walter Smith. And that's, of course, the name you're going to use in LinkedIn. And so I need to know what name to check to see if that is who, in fact, you are. So add your real name there, and then you're going to hit Submit Assignment. And again, you'll be able to see up here, yes, submission submitted. You can click on submission details. Oh yeah, here is what I submitted. Yeah. Let's say, oh no, I'm not going to do Walter Smith. I'm going to do Walter Harrison Smith. So you can hit resubmit, which basically erases what you already had here, and retry. You can do this as many times as you want. You don't need my permission. And you're going to hit submit. And we're going to look at submission details, and we can see, oh, now it says Walter Harrison Smith, so everything is good. I don't need to resubmit because I already have what I need, so I'm good to go. So you can always check what you submit. If for some reason there's a typo, you can always do resubmit. So there's no need to confirm with me that I got it. If you can see it, I can see it. If you can't see it, I can't see it. There's an extra credit scavenger hunt activity, so there's actually 2 extra credit things we have right now. This has to do with Westlaw. If you don't already have your Westlaw password, about the second week into the semester, reach out to me and I will get you a Westlaw password. Most folks, if you're not in your first semester in the paralegal program, you will likely already have your Westlaw password, so you can start it whenever you'd like. As you can see, it's not due until the very end of the semester, so no hurries on that one. Let's look at the practice assignment. This is your opportunity to make sure you understand how to submit assignments on Canvas. So let me show you how that works. So what you do is you pretend that you are submitting a completed assignment. So you'd be submitting, in other words, a Microsoft Word document. So I'm going to hit submit. I'm going to search for a document on my computer. I'm just going to post our course's syllabus here. So I'm going to pick this. Yeah, that's the one I want. I'm going to hit open. I'm going to see the name of it right here. Now I'm going to hit I can make a comment. I think this is the right document. And Groover will be able to see this. So now I want to make sure. So I'm going to check my submission details. This is the name of the document. I can go back and check it, my directory. I can see the comment, I think this, the right document. Wow, that's a pretty bad typo there. I'm probably not going to want to submit to my instructor something with a typo, right? So I'm going to choose to do it again. Let's see here. I think that this is the correct document. And I submit the document. Okay. So I can look at my submission details. You can see my first comment didn't go away. My second comment is present. Now I want to look at this document submission. This is really important to do, and I encourage you to do this whenever you submit something on Canvas. So I would say it's less than 5% of the time, but it's not 0% of the time. I will have students submit the wrong assignment. That's heartbreaking because in most cases the student has created the right assignment, they've just posted the wrong one, and now they're going to lose major points. You may say, well, why don't you give the person the opportunity to submit it late? Well, the problem with that is I'm not saying that you would do this, but there are people who might intentionally post the wrong assignment, and then they are really just trying to buy themselves an extra 12 or 24 hours. And so then they will come to me, oh gosh, stupid error on my part. I just submitted the wrong assignment. It was done all the time, when in fact they've been working on the assignment after the due date. So I'm not able to do that. If you do think that you posted the wrong assignment, do reach out to me. We can discuss it. There are some ways that you may be able to prove to me that given the date that you be sure not to resave the document, but the date that you're giving to me, the date that it was saved is before the deadline. But generally speaking, it's what is posted is what I'm going to grade, and if it's the wrong assignment, you're probably going to get a 0. So always check. And another helpful hint is make sure that whatever your naming convention for documents makes sense, so that you'll be able to quickly look at that document name and know whether it's the right one or not. So think about that carefully before you choose a particular document name. So because you can see what is posted and you can open the documents, there's no need to get any confirmation that I have in fact received the document. Then we also had the orientation quiz. This is due typically about 2 weeks, a little bit less than 2 weeks into the semester. Be sure to complete that as well. Let's see what else we need to cover here. Let me show you where the sample documents are. This is a common question I get. So I'm going to minimize this one start here. I'm going to minimize Module 1. I'm going to minimize Module 2. Minimize Module 3. Minimize Module 4. Keep on going. You don't have to minimize it, but I just have so many modules in this class, it gets to be a little crazy if you have everything open. Here's that legal ethics module that I was talking about before. And here's a sample document folder. Lots of different documents. We won't be using all of these in the course, but this would be fairly typical of what a paralegal would have. He or she would have electronic versions of similar documents. Keep in mind, all or most of these documents have some flaws in it. Now, one thing that doesn't have flaws is the letterheads. Don't worry, don't make changes to the letterheads. But the rest of these documents, other than the letterheads, so the third item and the fourth item, you're going to want to think about making changes to. So pause me right now and write that down, because there will be people who will take one of these examples and assume that it's all formatted right and lose major points. And I don't want that to be you. And it's not going to be you because you've written all that information down. And then finally, we have some web links. You won't necessarily need to use these for this course, although I do have the FOIA statute, which is something we do use in this course. But these are good resources just generally as you develop your professional reference or professional contacts and things along those lines that you'll want to use. You can see here we have a LinkedIn and we have a DAPA resource as well. So at this point, I think that I've covered everything that I wanted to cover. It's been a pleasure making this presentation to you today. I thank you for your attention, and I look forward to us having a great semester together. Take care.